Hello, today I'll be reviewing the rx-78-2 version 1.5. Here is the kit. It's pretty neat. Overall, it's a pretty old kit. It was released in the year 2000, so very old. And it has pretty bad seam lines, as you can see, and it is a updated version of the rx-78-2 version 1.0. Despite being a master grade, it doesn't have an inner frame in the arms, but it does have some inner detailing, as we can see here, and that can be revealed by just pulling this out and then flipping it up. Comes out, we got like about that much, and then you can flip that out. That right out. We also have it on the back of the legs. It's not the greatest connection. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to pull it down, like out, like that, and then rotate it up. Not really the best on here either. Break it down, and then you want to rotate it up. This one, I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm doing it right, but about like that. Gets it working. And then you have a it works like that on both sides. The arms don't really normally fall out. That's the first time that's ever happened. Here's the inner frame detailing. There's inner frame on the backpack. Kind of looks like a chicken though, so pretty goofy. In terms of stickers on the kit, you have one for the head camera, and then the back head camera, I guess, and then the eye camera. So, you know, generally what you'd normally have on these kits, pretty standard. The kit, in terms of articulation, is just kind of a polycap on a peg, so you can get rotation, but you can't really get any in and out. You have about 90 degrees of lateral movement, which can be just blocked by the top of this, not necessarily this. Without this, it still gets blocked. So you can just kind of do that, and you can get about what you need. Despite the lack of pull-out gimmick, you can still get most things. The arms only amount to a 90-degree bend. But interestingly, it's actually two different bends in here. There's a bend here, and then there's a bend here. But despite both those bends, it only ever gets 90 degrees. While you can kind of get a little bit more, you're pulling out the polycap in here, and it's not really the most comfortable bend, so I wouldn't recommend doing it. Interestingly, you can also get some pretty weird angles due to this, like that. And you can also just bend the arm backwards. So, I mean, if you want to have it look like it has a broken arm, you can do that. Also, interestingly, unlike a lot of other master grades, it has a rotation here. The front skirts move on a ball joint, but the back skirts are solid, just one piece. And then this moves up and down. It's on a polycap. The chest is pretty much just a brick. You can move it, and then you have the core block in there. Back in there. It also comes with a core fighter, but I will look at that later. But yeah, you do have a waist swivel, but it is pretty limited. It doesn't really click in as much as I'd like. It's very floppy. The chest vents do move, kind of similar to the chest vents on the 3.0, which also move. These ones are differently made. I'm not sure if I like them more or less, but they are there. You have a full 180 bend. Pretty nice, pretty solid. You have the shoulder thing can move up and down, and the part that connects the knee guard. The ankle guard into the thing can rotate a bit, but only really a bit. The foot is a brick, pretty much just a slab, doesn't really move at all. The beam saber things can move around, and then these can move up and down, as well as just moving up and down. In terms of weapons, this kit comes with your 2 beam sabers, which plug into the backpack, just like so, plugging around the beam saber, as opposed to how it does in 3.0, where it plugs into the peg hole in the beam saber. You get a beam bazooka, which is just all one color, comes all in the same runner. This part moves. The handle does not move, pretty standard. Beam rifle, this part moves like this much, and then this part can move that much. There's some okay part separation. This part's a separate piece, and this part plugs into there, as well as this part is 2 pieces that are connected together. But most of this is just 2 slabs together, same as on here. Beam sabers, you can plug them into there. Standard beam saber, nothing too special with that. Got your, I can't find the other part to this, but this is the beam javelin from the show. There's a ball that plugs in. It isn't very tight on there, so it's also just regular clear plastic, so you're gonna wanna paint it pink. There's just a really big mold line going down it, which you're gonna wanna clean up. We have the core fighter, which you can fold these up, and this pushes in and folds down. It came with real landing gears. I lost the first one at the front, but those you just take them off. They don't really fold in. And the back fin, you just take it off. For comparison, here is the 3.0's one, which has fins that come out a little bit more, so you fold those up a bit more like that, and you do that, and this, it folds up more. I want to say that the 3.0 one is just bigger. It doesn't look too much bigger in person, but like this part for sure is bigger. This one just feels smaller. Kit comes with 2 V-fins. It comes with this plastic one, which it instructs you to use a sticker to cover this part up. So you're probably gonna want to paint that. Okay, here's the shield. I tried painting little notches on here black, but it didn't work out. We have 4 sets of hands. We got these open hands, trigger finger hands, which you can just twist like this, and then you slide. Twist it on, and then you can get a decent grip on here. It's not that good. You might want to tighten up this ladder half so it doesn't fall off. It's a bit weak, but it's not going to fall out or anything. We get these closed fist, which are just your standard closed fist. And we get these articulated hands, which aren't very good. 3-finger trigger finger split with a movable joint for your thumb. Smoothly so, smoothly so. But they're pretty ugly, to be honest, and they don't really go any farther than this. They work fine for beam sabers and the beam javelin and things like that, but ultimately they're not very good. The kit comes with the parts for the 1.0. For example, this chest piece, which is a different chest. You get the parts for the 1.0's chest, along with the 1.0's shoulders and knee guards. So there's a lot of differences in this kit to the 1.0 that can be seen by the fact that you have this many pieces left over on the runner. But ultimately, it's still very similar and still very old. For polycaps, this uses a sort of standard runner, I assume, because you have multiple of each type. On here, we get some of the inner frame detailing that was on the 1.0 that is not on here. This goes for the head, and this is for the legs. Probably possible to make for 1.0, but I'm not exactly sure. I don't think you can build the legs, because the legs on this one is completely different. And there's something really interesting about the legs, actually. So the legs come pre-assembled on the runner with these attached and they fall off, much like a real grade would, which is interesting because this is, I assume, older. I don't know when the real grade line came out. There is screws in this kit right here in the, you can see the end of the screw there. This one falls off for me. I don't know if that's just because I did something wrong. For the legs, the parts where these connect, these were connected in. You're instructed to take them out and then you use them to separate out the pistons in it, which is pretty neat. There are several points in this kit. You take some clear paint and thicken up the pegs and whatnot, just because it's not very solid. For one, this part, don't know if you can hear it, but it is jittering on there. It is not solid on there at all. It is going back and forth. It's really loose. So what you might want to do is stick it up with some pegs and it'll feel a lot nicer if you do that. Same thing with these. It's not too loose over here, but it's just good practice. Same with pretty much everything. Like this grip is really loose. You're probably going to want to tighten that up. the connection of the beam javelin clear effect part to the handle is loose. There's a lot of loose stuff that you're gonna want to clean up. You're gonna want to get rid of the seam line on the arms, and that's pretty much it. Here's a size comparison with the Zaku 2.0 with the Master Grade Hainu Verka, and then here it is with the 3.0. Overall, I enjoy this kit. I think it has issues, a lot with the seam lines, which you're definitely going to want to remove. But overall, the kit's pretty neat, pretty cool, and just really interesting. And I would personally recommend picking it up if you see it, considering it's an old kit, and it can be pretty hard to find. So you can find it for a good price at your local hobby shop. I would recommend getting it. It's pretty neat, it's pretty cool, and despite its age, it still has some fun to be had with it. Despite the many seam lines on the arms that you're going to clean up and the other several issues, it's pretty cool. Make sure to like and subscribe because I'm just that cool.